Hi guys, today we are working with watercolors and oil pastels. So you're gonna need thick paper. I'm using watercolor paper, but use what you have. If you don't have oil pastels, try using crayons. If you don't have watercolors, then just draw with us. So don't let anything stop you from creating art with us today. We're gonna be making a vase with some flowers. So we're gonna start with a pencil to sketch everything out, and then we'll move on to the pastels. So if you need to, press pause, gather your supplies, and then join us to start creating. Okay, so let's start by making our vase. Make a curved line here. I'm going to make this side a little higher because the flowers are going to be drooping down over here. So there is our vase. Okay, so from the vase, there's going to be a ground that it's sitting on. Okay. And then from there, there is going to be lots and lots of flowers. Make this darker so you could see it. Okay. And then some of our flowers are going to hang down, and they're just going to be little small. These are just little circles. Same thing here, where it just hang down and they're just little clusters. Just doing a rough sketch of this because we're gonna make it much nicer with color. I'm gonna have some flowers sticking out here. And then we could add some leaves. More of those droopy flowers. Okay, so now you get a rough idea of where we're going to place our flowers. Okay, so you're just going to scatter yours around. And now we're going to grab our oil pastels. I'm going to start with this lighter blue, and I'm going to go over my pencil lines for my vase. Like that. We are not going to fill in our vase. The only thing we're going to do inside our vase is we're going to make some stems. And we're going to do them in blue because it's going to look like a shadow. So you want them to go in all different directions. Like that. And then I'm just going to add a few little lines here. Okay, that's all we're doing with the vase. And then you actually can take some white. Make sure your white is clean. I just wiped mine off. And I'm gonna add, you're not gonna be able to see it, but later when we do the watercolors, you will. I'm gonna add a few little reflections on my vase. So you just make some lines in there, okay? All right, so let's grab red and peach. I'm grabbing red and peach. If you don't have red and peach, grab red and white. I'm gonna use the lighter color first on these petals. So if you don't have peach, then make your petals white first. And then add some red to it. Just putting it right on top. Oil pastels are fun for blending colors, overlapping colors. You can use your fingers to smudge them. So now I'm going to take this color again and I'm going to go back over it. And you see how cool that looks? It looks nice and blended in. Okay. See that? And then you could take the red and just pick some spots where you just want it a little bit darker. On the edges. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to use yellow for the middle. And I'm just going to smudge this color in there too. Like that. You could take a little bit of white in there. Okay, now let's do a yellow flower. This project has a lot of detail, so once we do all of the flowers, if you want to take a break before we do the watercolor, that's fine. You can pause it and then come back and work on it a little more. The more time you spend with your art, the nicer it'll look, so you don't want to rush through it. Okay, this is going to have some yellow in it too, in the middle. And now I'm going to take a little bit of this, it's like a brownish color, and I'm going to put that on top of the yellow in the middle, but mostly on the edges, like that. And going to put a little bit of orange in this yellow. Oop. Here we go. I'm not putting too much because I'm going to go back over this with yellow again. There we go. Just blending it more with more yellow on top. Okay, so there's my yellow flower. And I like this color. I'm going to put this color on this one. And also over here. I'm going to take a little bit of this brown in this one. See, I'm not pushing hard. I just lightly added some of that. So then I'm going to go back on top with the yellow again and make them blend. You could even take your finger if you want to and blend it a little bit more. Okay, on that one, I'm going to fill in the circle, put a little yellow on it. And then the same thing we did with the other flower, I'm just going to put a little bit of orange and then take my yellow back on top. Cool, right? Alrighty. Now I'm going to make an orange flower here. First, I'm just going to fill the whole thing in orange. And then we're going to put some red on top. Go back on top with orange again. And by this third time, you don't really see any of that white anymore. Okay. We're going to do that color again over here. So orange first. Then red. And then orange again. Okay. Those look really good. Now we are going to switch to blue, this darker blue, and I'm going to outline this shape here. Make sure I don't touch my flowers. And I'm going to color it in like a circular motion. That. And I'm going to put some white on top of it. Doesn't that look cool? And then I'm just going to add a little bit more blue circles. Like that. Do the same thing on this one. This is a really good art project for the spring. And they're flowers that will never die. And they're special because you made them. Do you see what I did there? I even fit it right in that tiny space. Okay, now remember, now we pick up our white. We're gonna go back on top. And see how I'm just going around and around and around. I'm making a bunch of little circles. Instead of up and down, I'm going around. Be careful when you get near those other flowers. Okay. And then I'm going to go back over it again with some circles. There. Okay. Now I want a purple color and I don't have a purple pastel. So we're gonna have to make it ourselves with white, blue, and red. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the white and I'm going to make circles over here. And because the white is dirty, it already has a little light blue in it. That's okay. Okay. And then I think I'm gonna try the light blue. I'm gonna put some light blue on top of the white. I'm gonna make some little circles. And now let's try a little bit of red. I'm not gonna push too hard because I want it to look like a lavender color. So after I put the red, I put a little more blue. Let's see if we can get this to turn purplish. Still need more red. Hey, you might luck out at home and maybe you already have a purple pastel, but I did not. Okay, now I'm gonna take some white. Keep blending. Yep, starting to turn purple. Like a lilac color. Maybe I'll try the darker blue. Darker blue, a little bit of red, because red and blue make purple, you know that. And the white just lightens it up because I wanted like a lavender color. Okay, close enough. It's got a purplish hint to it. All right, and I need another one of those over here. So I'm gonna start with white. And then maybe I'll do the blue first this time. Put some blue on top, put some red on top. And mix it all up with white. There we go. Okay, for these, I'm gonna make, oh, I'm gonna wipe off this white. I'm gonna make this white. Then I'm gonna put a little orange on top. I'm gonna do this one the same too. We got a little blue in there, that's okay. Putting white back on top again. And how about a little bit of red? And then white to blend it in. I like that color, that's pretty. Let's make this flower yellow too. Sometimes you have to blow off some of the pastel that gets all over, and that's okay. All right, on this one, I'm gonna add a little bit of orange. And yellow on top again. Takes a lot of patience, but I promise you it will be worth it at the end when you're all finished. I'm going to make this one blue too. So we're just going around and around. And then white. And let's see, let's make this one orange. And yellow. And I'm also going to put a little white in there too. And this one, I'm going to make it white. Just putting a little bit of white in between all of these. And then when it gets down to the bottom, you could just rip the paper off, or you can rip a piece of the paper off. I'm just gonna put yellow on top of white, and it's just gonna make it really light yellow. filling in all those little spaces. All right. Okay, anywhere that you want to add a stem, you can. I only really had space for a few. You could add some leaves if you want to, just kind of peeking out. Blending it a little bit with white. Okay, so now we are ready for our watercolors. I'm gonna take this, let's see, the light blue, and I'm just gonna make a line here and here, and a few little zigzags like that before I move on to the watercolor. Okay, so now you need your paintbrush, a cup of water, and for the watercolors, we're gonna use blues and yellows. Okay, so for the watercolors, we're gonna be using blue and green, and we want to wet the paper. I already had some blue on my brush. So you wanna put water and then the blue, and you want it most, so you can dip your brush in the blue a little bit, but then dip your brush in the water so that it's very light. And you don't have to worry about being too careful here, because guess what? The watercolors will not stick to the pastels. Okay, so again, I'm gonna dip it in the blue, then dip my brush in the water, and then just kind of scatter this around. Now I want it a little lighter, so I'm only going to use water now to spread this out. I'm leaving some spaces here because I am going to add a little bit of green. So we can do that now. Just wet your brush, put a touch of green on your brush, wet your brush again, because like I said, we want to dilute it. We want it lighter. Little green, wet your brush. You could overlap those colors a little bit. When the green and the blue meet, it kind of looks like an aqua color. So a little goes a long way here. A little green, wet it. Getting as close as I can to the flowers. And it's okay if you go on top of them, because it'll just wipe off anyway. See, it will not stay. Okay, now I'm going to go back into my blue a little bit. Make sure you wet it. Okay, now I'm going to wet my brush, and I'm going to paint all in here. A little blue, water. Now I know we made some reflection, so some of that isn't going to stay there. It's okay. Okay. And now on this side, I'm going to make it darker. So I'm dipping my brush in the blue. And now I'm going side to side. Okay, and now I'm going to dip my brush in the water. I didn't put my brush back into the paint, the watercolor paint. I just wet it so that whatever is left on my brush is just going to be lighter. It's going to make it lighter on this side. Okay. Using long brush strokes for the ground. Side to side. And there you have it, friends. Here is our watercolor and oil pastel floral arrangement. I hope you had fun today. And if you get a second, take a pic and show me your painting. Have a great day.